I did something today. I came out in the cold and I rode my bike up the mountain. Yay! A couple weeks ago, I posted a video in which I compared Rouvy to Zwift. And if you saw that video, then you would clearly understand that I prefer Rouvy because I like the more realistic feel you get from it. But how realistic is it in comparison to real life? So that's what I wanted to try to figure out. Fortunately, there are a few routes in the Las Vegas area that have already been uploaded to Rouvy. So I decided to take one of the routes from Mount Charleston, and I'm going to do that 2 times. Once on Rouvy and then once in real life. And then after I do both of those rides, I can look at the numbers to determine if Rouvy is in fact accurate or not. But there are a couple obvious differences that are probably gonna affect my performance. Number 1 is temperature. I've been riding indoor. On my trainer, the standard temperature inside my house is about 74 degrees. And when I go up to Mount Charleston, there's still snow up there, so it's gonna be quite chilly. I think it's at 48 degrees now, which isn't too bad, but it's definitely different than my 74 in my house. Another obvious difference is the altitude. At home, I'm sitting around 2,000 feet above sea level, but the top of the route on Mount Charleston is going to be at about 8,300 feet, so there's going to be significantly less air up there. So I figured the best way to do this is just to go all out on both attempts, and then in the end we can look at the numbers and compare them. Well, one thing's for sure, I can definitely confirm that it is easier to get ready for a ride on Rouvy versus a ride in real life. I basically keep everything here on the table, open up my laptop, turn it on, open up the app. So now all I have to do is just get on the bike, start pedaling, and hit start. You can see here on the satellite view of the Rouvy route that I am going downhill right now, and once I get to Deer Creek Road, I will turn right. One thing that is really cool about Rouvy is you can view your ride in the satellite view, or you can switch it to the video view. It's just as good quality as the footage my action camera took of this real life version of the ride, if not better. Here I am up on Mount Charleston, and I'm getting ready to do the real part of this Rouvy versus real. What are you doing? Bingo's excited. We're all excited. It's a little bit chilly, 48 degrees up here, but I'm ready to go. So it's only 5.97 miles, but it has over 1,700 feet of climbing. And it goes up and around that mountain a little bit. So I guess I will see you guys along the way. Okay. All right. Let's pump this baby up. And as I prepared to ride my bike outdoors, I was reminded of how much easier it is to just hop on the trainer at home. Here's to no flats. I'm all set and ready to go, so now it is time to roll on out. Oh my god, I need more air. There's not enough air. Halfway there. This is so hard without air. Almost there, babe. That really hurt outside. All right, now that those rides are done, let's compare the results. I didn't even have to look at these numbers to tell you that outside definitely felt much more difficult for me. I was able to maintain the same heart rate and cadence, but my power and speed were significantly lower outside. Not to mention it took me an extra 5 minutes to get it done in real life, and I burned more energy doing so. Does this mean I think Rouvy is way off compared to real life? Not necessarily. I guess it would just come down to what conditions you are used to riding in. Those of you who live in higher altitudes would probably be better acclimated to ride in those higher altitudes. So you would have probably put out the same numbers in real life as you would on Rouvy. I know 48 degrees really isn't that cold, but keep in mind, my home temperature is 74 degrees and I have been riding on my indoor trainer for basically this entire past year, with a few exceptions. So when I got up on top of that mountain in the fresh, cold air, my lungs went into shock. And I basically spent the rest of the ride compensating for that. I know, basically this indoor riding has turned me into a wimp when I get out into the colder temperatures, but despite the higher altitude and the colder temperatures and the fact that I was coughing for 2 days after the ride, I still managed to PR that climb. So I will be back. But until then, I'm going to continue riding on Rouvy because all the climbing I've been doing on there is definitely making me a stronger cyclist, and I can't ignore those gains. And now Rouvy offers group rides, so if you guys don't want to join me for one of those, you can always feel free to drop me a hello on Instagram or TikTok. And that is all I have for you today. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.